Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you guys are having a great, what is today? Tuesday. So what do we got in the schedule today? One, obviously the presidential debate just ended a little bit ago. I was watching that. Don't know if you guys were watching it as well. But we won't talk about that. We'll keep politics out of this show, basically. We'll take a look at Bitfarms. Bitfarms did provide a reorg internally, at least. We'll take a look at that, and then we'll also take a look at the miners as far as how are they shorted right now, right? So we haven't done this in probably like 5 weeks or so, some 6 weeks. We'll look at the number, the data that we have on that, and we'll also take a look at, really quick, the Bitcoin network hash rate right now. We've reached a new all-time high here recently. We'll take a look at that as well. We'll look at the miners, Bitcoin, how it did today. And Bitcoin was up today, which was nice. During the presidential debate, Bitcoin actually went down, and I think it's because, well, President Trump maybe didn't do that well. So they didn't talk about Bitcoin there. I was hoping they would talk about Bitcoin. No mention of that. But they talked about other bunch of topics there. You guys can take a look at it if you want, if you haven't already watched it. Okay, so that's all we got on the plate today. As always, not financial advice from only. Do your own research. Full disclosure down below that. And if you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. And let's take a look at what's going on here with Bitcoin really quick and the miners. So the miners and the Bitcoin had a pretty good day today. Bitcoin was up. We did close above our resistance line at 57,500 or so. We closed at, what would we close at? 57,641. We were up 1% on the day. So we had a nice little couple day rally here. Bitcoin's down right now in the new day, which is now on Wednesday. If we look at the 1 hour chart, we can see here that, let's see here, this is, what is that, 8 o'clock, right when, I think when did it start? 8 o'clock? 8 o'clock, yeah. The debate started at 8 o'clock. Things went down pretty quickly here after that. Let's take a look at the 15-minute chart, if that also was the case. Actually, yeah, it was about 15 minutes afterwards. That's when the chart started going down here on Bitcoin here. Maybe there was a little foretelling of possibly how well or bad President Trump did in the debate, right? We were hoping we'd have maybe a better sign there, but it's starting to pick back up a little bit here. Going back to the daily here, we'll see how Bitcoin does today on Wednesday. Miners had a pretty good day today. A lot of them were up a little bit here. The only one that was down was Digihost. Everybody else was up single digits for the most part. Let's see, take a look at some of the big guys here that we covered normally here. BitDigital was up 2.5%. BitTier was up 9.6%, had a nice day. Bitfarms was up 3.6%. Cypher was up 5.4%. Cleanspark 5.8%. CORZ was up just barely here, just a little bit, 0.1%. Surprisingly, let's see, Hive was up 5%. Hut was up 4.7%. IREN was up 5.6%. Marathon was up nice today, 9%. Mawson, we don't really cover that one that much. Riot was up 6.3%, and Wolf was up 6.2% as well. So it was a pretty good day for the miners and Bitcoin in general. It didn't start out that way in the morning. Things were looking a little bit more bleak for us at that time, but things did reverse towards the end of the day, which was nice to see, as always. Okay. Now, when we look at the Bitcoin network hash rate, I was surprised. I just pulled this up. We haven't pulled this up in a couple of days here. I don't always check it every day, but man, network hash rate has definitely peaked here quite a bit. We peaked on, when was it? This was back on September 8th, so 2 days ago. 693 exahash on the 7-day average. That is pretty high. If we look at, let's see if we can find the 1 day, and what did that come up to be? We hit 742 exahash, and then we hit 742 as well, 759. So same spots. So basically, there's probably around 742 exahash out there someplace, and it's being turned on and off potentially, depending on electricity costs and power draws and all that stuff. So we have already reached 742, right? My estimate for this year was between 800 and 900 exahash by the end of the year. It looks like we might be in line to reach that within the next couple of months. If we look at the 30-day average as well, we can see quite a sizable uptick here recently here. 653 exahash, that is definitely our latest highest number that we've seen here. The prior one to that was back here, which was at 638. Prior to that, we could go down a little bit here. We were at 625, and then we would have to probably go back to like May of this year, which was also 625 as well. So after the halving event, things definitely did cool off a little bit, and then afterwards, we're starting to pick back up here as we're seeing sizable increases in hash rate being installed by the miners. IREN specifically got quite a bit, Riot as well within the last couple of months. So we are seeing that increase continue going forward here. So that's Never a good sign, especially with Bitcoin kind of being stuck going sideways here recently. So we really do need Bitcoin to kind of pick things up in October, November, possibly even in September this month, because that's going to have an impact on the miners' profitability going forward. Okay, but that's it on that. I just wanted to point that out to you guys. And then let's take a look at the stories that we do have today, which is on Bitfarms. And also this is where we are right now. We're down 2.44% so far in September. We have bounced back a little bit. I think we were down as low as 6% here recently, just a couple of days ago. So Bitfarms, they provided some updates. It seems like we're talking about Bitfarms every day now, which might be actually a good thing because there's a lot of things going on with the company and a lot of good things also. But here's what we have here. So Bitfarms enhances operations teams. I'm not going to read over the whole thing, but we're going to get into the first two paragraphs of it. And based on what I read here, the people that they are promoting seem to have a really good track record and a lot of experience, which is, I believe, is a good thing here. So today, Bitfarms announced the following enhancements to its operations teams, effective immediately. Alex Bremer has been appointed Senior Vice President of Global Mining Operations. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to pronounce this name here. I'm going to try my best here. Benoit Gobelli, currently serving as Executive Vice President of Operations and Infrastructure, has been promoted to Chief Infrastructure Officer. Okay. In conjunction with these appointments, Bitfarms mining operations will now be split into two divisions, mining operations and infrastructure, with Mr. Bremer and Mr. Kobeli heading up the divisions respectively. So I think this is good, right? As you get larger, you need to kind of segment these organizations a little bit into what they can excel in, because ideally, when you get really large, when you're small, you can do that with a single operation or a single division inside the company. But when you get larger, you want to kind of get those split up a little bit, so you have people really concentrating on one thing and other people concentrating on the other thing, and they work together to build out the company. So in conjunction, yeah, we talked about that here. So that one we already covered. The mining operations and infrastructure divisions will deliver greater scalability and accountability in data center construction, maintenance, and operations, and lay the foundation for the establishment of HPC AI operations. That was pretty interesting to me, right? We've heard from Ben talk about before that they are interested in getting into HPC AI as well, but the timeline has always been towards the end of 2025 into 2026 potentially. With now these two divisions, could they possibly, maybe, don't know, up the timeline here to maybe a little bit faster? We'll have to wait and see. Mr. Bremer will lead the mining operations team responsible for miner performance, upgrades, and hash rate. He will be responsible for leading all operational aspects of Bitfarms' rapidly expanding global portfolio of mining assets spanning 4 countries across 2 continents. And then in close partnership with Mr. Bremer, Mr. Gobelli will lead the infrastructure team responsible for construction, expansion, upgrades, and maintenance. Both will report directly to Ben Gagnon, Chief Executive Officer of Bitfarms, which Ben that was his role prior to becoming CEO here. So all in all, I think this is a good thing going forward for them, and it's just a nice thing that they are doing these types of things, and I think Ben's doing a great job here, right? You want to kind of, I wouldn't say silo the divisions out, but you want to have people in charge of those different aspects. There's a difference between build out, where you're building out infrastructure, and operations things as well. So I think that's good. And then you can read the what's the word I'm looking for here? The skills and historical employment for these guys down below, and I've read that, and they all have really good accreditation, I guess you could say, on it. Okay, so that is it on Bitfarms here, and let's get into the miners being shorted here. Let's see what the latest data is telling us here, and that's Bitfarms there. Let's get into shorts, which is going to be all the way back over here someplace. There it is, shorted. Okay, so we look at current number of shares shorted, percent of average shares float shorted, shares shorted value versus market cap. And I'm pulling data in from this website. It is, let me see, where is it at? I have it up here. Knowthefloat.com, ticker Cleanspark, or ticker, whatever the ticker might be. I'm a little concerned here because last couple times I've checked this, the data hasn't really changed here. The flow from Yahoo, flow from FinViz, and flow from Wall Street Journal hasn't changed on these. So I'm a little concerned if they're updating this stuff regularly or not. If you guys have a better website where I can check this, because we're getting different also numbers from the different sources, which then I'm taking all the numbers and using the average float for them combined, right? But here's what we got. Marathon has number of shares being shorted is about 81 million right now. Riot is at 51.6 million. TeraWolf at 44 million. Cleanspark with 38 million. Core with 32 million. Bitfarms with 29 million. Cypher with 22 million. BitDigital with 20 million. Hut8 with 13. IREN with only 6.9 million. Hive with 4.7. BitDeer at 3.3. I'm pulling that data in from my Webull app, and I pulled in the data for the last 3 times it was reported, which was 7/15, 7/31, and 8/15 dates on that one. So we're using the latest data on that one. Percent of average float shorted. Marathon is the most shorted here, looks like, 35%, followed by Core, 32%. Riot, 25%. TeraWolf, 23%. Cypher, 22%. Cleanspark, 20%. BitDigital, 19%. Hut8, 15%. BitDeer, 14%. Bitfarms 10%, IREN 8%, and Hive being shorted the least here at 4%. Okay, when we look at the shares shorted value versus market cap, here's the market cap for all these guys, and then here's the amount being shorted. You can see on all these guys as well. We can definitely see that Marathon has the most short possibly on it as well. But I wonder if that's going to change here as things maybe improve in Bitcoin price going into October and November. We'll definitely have to keep an eye on it. And then here's the number of shares shorted, changed from last time. So last time we checked this was probably about 5 to 6 weeks ago on the miners. And here's how the things have changed here. Let me see here. Is that Riot there? I think that is Riot. I think Riot had the most decrease in the shares being shorted on them, about 10 million less. The one that had the most increase here was TeraWolf, 11.7 million here, along with Marathon, 11 million. Followed by Bitfarms, 5.2 million, Hut8, 4.6 million, and then IREN actually went down here as well, 6.1 to recently, but that's all based on 8.15. I wonder if that would change because of the power issues that they had or the power cost. I wonder if that might change. BitDigital was only down 2.4, so that was good there. Who else was down? Hive was down, Core was down, and then Cypher was up, Cleanspark was up just a little bit, Hut8, we talked about it as well, BitDeer was being up as well. Okay, and then price change percentage from 12 weeks ago on the miners. Let me see here. Cypher's on 30%. Is that correct? Let me take a look here really quick on it. Did I pull in the right data from the date? Where is that coming from? I almost forgot to take a look at that. Let's see. Sorry. I should have checked this, but I was doing this during the... Let's see. Where are we putting that information from? Not anywhere here. Where is it at? Okay, it's on the shorted number. Oh, over here. Okay, so let's see. Where is that information coming from? And that information is we're doing a VLOOKUP. Okay, we're pulling the data in over here. Okay, so that makes sense. So that's why we're seeing it. Okay, I just want to double check to make sure my numbers were correct on it before we go any further. I almost forgot to check that. Okay, sorry about that. Back to the show. So Cypher and Cleanspark are down the most here, 32% and 30% respectively. Then we got Bitfarms down 25%, Hut8 22%. Who else do we have here? IREN's down 19%, Riot 20%, Marathon 18%, BitDeer 16%. Who else do we have here? BitDigital 16%, Hive 15%, and then CORZ down 8%, and TeraWolf is 7%. So everybody's down in the last 12 weeks on it. Okay, and then here's the share number of shares being shorted on these guys. Let's see if we can go back to the number 1 spot here. We'll start with number 1 here, which is, I believe, going to be BitDeer. We're going in alphabetical order here. You can see that the number of shares shorted here has been kind of, it's actually going up a little bit here for BitDeer towards the end here. And I need to update the data. See, that's what I get. I need to pull this down here a little bit more. Can I just pull this whole thing down? Let's see. I can. Wonderful. Okay, so now we're using the latest data on these guys. All right, so number of shares being shorted for our BitDeer has been increasing on it, and BitDigital is coming down a little bit here recently, right? It peaked at 22.8 million here shares shorted. Then we go to Bitfarms. Bitfarms has definitely seen a huge spike here. I'm not sure why, especially in July, right? 30 million from 23 million, huge spike there. It has been coming down here recently. And was it because, when did they report, or when did they appoint Ben as the CEO there? I'm not sure if that's tying into it or whether it's just the stuff that's going on with Riot trying to get board seats and all the things involved in there. Cypher, you can see here, has peaked at 24.1 million shares at 715, and it has been coming down here as well. Cleanspark has actually been increasing here slowly, but surely it has been increasing the number of shares shorted for them. The stock's been way down here. I'm surprised that that is still, well, that's recently here more so. But yeah, that's definitely surprising there. And then we got Core here, has been up to, well, 32.4 was the 33 was the previous high, sorry. So it's down a little bit from there, but it's back up to where we were just a couple weeks ago. Then we got Hive here. Hive has actually been going down, and the number of shares shorted, Hut 8, has been increasing here. And then we got IREN. IREN has been kind of flat here over the last, I would say, 2-3 months or so. And that one, it peaked at 7.89 million shares shorted. Marathon, well, definitely a huge spike here in the last, basically last week of, or not last week, middle of the month of August here. 81.58 million on it. And then we got Riot, actually has been coming down. They were at 61 and at 620 or 628. And then we got TeraWolf as well. TeraWolf has had a huge spike here. I think that's mainly because of this price increase that they have seen recently in the last probably 2 to 3 months. Maybe that's the reason for it on that one. But yeah, that is it. It's also always interesting to take a look at that data just to see how the companies are being shorted, which ones are going up, which ones are going down as well. But that is all I got for you guys today. Tomorrow we'll probably look at the miners versus Bitcoin Network hash rate. How have the miners improved their hash rate compared to Bitcoin Network hash rate in August? So we'll look at that data as well, and then we'll look at some other things going forward also. All right, but that is it. As always, my little sales pitch here. You guys know the drill. Patreon members, love them all. Help support the channel. And if you want to have access to all this data that I have, it's $8 a month. Link is in the description for that in the video. And there might be a couple spots that are open $5 or $4. If you can get those, go ahead and get those because you get a nice discount on top of that. All right. Plus, you get access to the private Discord server there as well. So that's it. Let's get into your guys' Q&A side of things. See what you guys have to say. Hopefully, you guys had a great day. I had a pretty good day today. It was a nice day. It was actually beautiful outside today where I live. So definitely enjoyed it. But let's get into the Q&A side of things. All right. Let's see what else we have here. Trying to look at some of the questions here. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. Nabil. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Good night, all. Seb, your channel deserves way more recognition. I appreciate that. Thank you. If you're going to bed, good night to you as well. Let's see here. Arn says Riot is the worst performer year to date. It is. It has not done as well as some of the other miners the last 52 weeks. Let's see. What's the implication of this data? I mean, the implication is that you can see which ones might be more shorted. And if the shorts start covering, that means there might be more upside potentially to some of these stocks there, potentially. That doesn't always have to be the case, but that's kind of what the thought process is. Well, let's see, why are we looking at it? Yeah, just to see which miners are being shorted the most, based on the data that we do have here right now. Let's see. Just tuned in. Can I get the cliff notes? Is Bitfarms Reorganization good? Still a good buy? Yeah, I think the reorganization is good there. You're putting basically two people in charge of two different parts of the business, which is building out infrastructure and then also the mining segments of it. So, and they're both going to be working together. Plus, you're going to be reporting to Ben, basically. So I do think it is a good thing. Let's see here. George says, have multiple miners looking for fourth option. BT. Okay, so you're looking for another one. Bitdeer, Bitfarms. I don't know who. Are you talking about Hut there or Hive? Between those, I think I would have to go with probably Bitfarms. I think they're way more undervalued than Bitdeer is right now, including Hut 8 or Hive. Hive doesn't have much growth. Bitdeer has more growth this year, plus they're looking to grow more next year as well. I will take a look at Bitfarms. Let's see. Thoughts on the debate and the impact on BTC price this week. I'll be honest with you guys. If you guys don't know, I have been pretty much a staunch Republican all my life. I'm all for smaller government, smaller taxes, let people... I think people are, in general, I think there's always some exceptions to the rule, but overall, I believe people are very, very capable of looking out for themselves, right? Especially if they're given the opportunity to do well. So that's kind of the way I've always looked at things. And based on what I saw today, I voted for Trump back in, when was it, last cycle, and the prior when he was going against, who was he going against back then? I can't remember now. But the first time he got elected, I voted for Trump. I voted for Republicans pretty much all my life here. And to be honest, I think the age is getting to him. He's not a young whippersnapper anymore. I didn't get a warm, fuzzy feeling from the debate from him, at least. And I think that's why Bitcoin was maybe down a little bit. But we'll see. I wish, it's nice that we have Joe Biden now, but now we have to deal with Kamala Harris. I think she did actually pretty good for Democrats, the way I was looking at it. She had more of a positive outlook on the country, the people, everything else, whereas Trump was more on defense. It seemed like he was more angry. He was, how can I put it? It was just all the bad things that are going on in the country and everything else. So there's two different types of viewpoints that are going on. But yeah, we'll see what happens with Bitcoin. They didn't talk about Bitcoin at all, which I thought they might a little bit. They didn't. With the economy, maybe questions or something like that. I don't know. But I didn't get a good feeling from the way Trump performed tonight. What else we had here? Talked about the debate. Let's see. Hey, Seb, do you think CPI will come in cold or lower than expected tomorrow? I think it might actually come in. What are the estimates for the CPI? I think it might actually come down a little bit. Might be a little bit below that. I don't know exactly how much, but I think it might be actually down. Let's see. Andre asks also, I bought some Bitfarms today. Do you think it's a good buy here? Yeah, I was buying it last week at what, $1? What was it, $1.90 something or $2 something? I can't remember now, but somewhere around there. So if you got below that price, yeah, I think it's a great buy. Let's see. Has your price predictions changed at all this past month? Do you still believe IREN will go higher than Cleanspark in the long run? I do think that IREN could possibly go a little bit higher, but that's mainly because of the number of shares that they have out there, right? Cleanspark has more shares. That's going to give them a larger market cap than IREN still. And Cleanspark also has more HODL, which I think if Bitcoin starts going up, that's going to also do that. But just the number of shares that's the difference. I think that's going to be why they possibly, IREN might go a little bit higher in price. Not much. I'm talking about like what, $5, $10 more on it. Okay. If you had $1 to invest in miners, theoretically, how would you spread it out? Of course, it's not financial advice, but want to see your thoughts process. Right now, based on what I'm seeing with the miners, I keep saying, Bitfarms is still the most undervalued out of the top 5-7 miners or so, something like that. I would probably put more into that with the thought process that eventually I think CORZ may give up on Bitfarms, and at that point, maybe the stock does much better. Also, with Bitcoin starting going up higher, and if they can get to the 21 exahash by the end of the year, that's going to be a positive for Bitfarms there. And they have pretty good growth plans going forward into 2025 as well. So that would be where I would probably put majority of it right now, because I think there might be a little bit more upside there. So maybe I would go, 40-50% into Bitfarms, and then I would go into the rest into Cleanspark and IREN, because you just never know with those two guys which ones are going to do better than the other one. Which 3 miners have the most to gain in stock price if Bitcoin hits 100,000 later this year? I honestly still think it might be between Cleanspark, IREN, and Bitfarms. CORZ is more, I think, tied to the HPC business that they have with CoreWeave, which they're going to be getting a lot of cash from that sometime in 2025. But it's going to be the first part of the half, or like later part of the first half. That's going to be happening there. Does Mara's name change have any impacts on the way they run the business? They changed it to Marathon Holdings. So if they're calling themselves Marathon Holdings, I'm guessing they'll be holding a heck of a lot more Bitcoin going forward, which means they're probably not going to be selling it towards the peak. That's kind of my impression of it right now is. So they've been hodling for a long time anyways. They've been selling a little bit here in like last year, but recently they've been holding everything that they have. So it's going to be definitely interesting to see how they play that out. see. Let's see here. Hey Seb, we are on the same boat when it comes to politics. Unfortunately, it was a 3-on-1 debate against. Yeah, what was it? Gosh, I'm drawing the name blank on the Muir, right? Muir. He corrected Trump on a couple of things and kind of also, what did he say? Kind of contradicted Trump, I believe, a couple of times. Yeah, I saw that too. Let's see. Chris says Harris is a atypical communist. Yeah, and we don't want communism. I've lived through communism. I was very young at that time, but I do remember my mom. We lived in Poland. This was when Russia had control over Poland, basically. And I remember you couldn't get fruits. You couldn't get, toys, clothing. You couldn't get a lot of things. When things did come to a little market, if you knew somebody, you were lucky. There were lines. A lot of times you'd be standing in line for 2, 3, 4 hours to get the basic necessities that you needed. You also had at that point, dollar was in play as well. There were special stores where you could buy things in dollars, but things were just so expensive at that point. And how are you going to get dollars? The only way you could get dollars if you went to the currency exchange and changed out your native currency into that, or if you had somebody living in the United States sending you cash that way. That's the only way you could do it. So communism is never a good thing. Never want to see it to happen to in the United States. It would be significantly detrimental, I think, to the standing of the United States in the world. That is never a good thing. So, yeah, never for that in any way. Free market all the way. It has definitely the way to go. Right? You want people to have an incentive to earn, to create, to generate wealth, whether it's for themselves, for their families, whatever it might be, and also provide services and products for the people. Because once you have communism, it's basically everything's equal to everybody, and then things go to basically crap in a handbasket when that happens. It's not a good thing. Let's see. HD Tech says Kamala's debate performance was all an act, no policy, just words. I'll take Trump's business acumen from the nursing home over the phony. Yeah, there's something to that. There's some things that also irk me about Trump, and I thought, I'll just say this. I thought he was going to do much better. Not only that, but I thought he was going to also do much better as a president the first time. The second time, after what happened with the elections and everything else, kind of lost a lot of his trust. And then him speaking highly of Putin and some of the other dictators around the world is like a red flag to me, to be honest. I'll be honest with you guys. Right? Anytime you have a dictator and somebody else is praising that, that's not a good sign. You want freedom. You want free elections. So that's why I'm concerned about Trump a little bit on that part. I'm just being totally honest with you guys. Because, again, going back to where I grew up at, Poland being, who was I can't remember who was the president or the dictator at the time in Russia. It's not a good thing. It's never a great thing. Let's see. Sean says politicians can say whatever they want. They are charlatans. Actions are literally all that matter. Yeah. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. If Kamala becomes president, what price will Bitcoin be? And if Trump becomes president, what price will Bitcoin be? Gosh, I don't have a crystal ball. I wish I did. But I keep saying this over and over, that we've had Bitcoin through both Democrats, presidents, and Republican presidents. Bitcoin still does its own thing. It still goes up in value. Now, where's it going to go exactly? I don't know, depending on who's the president there. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Vincent says, I asked Alfred, are you talking about Mike Alfred, about Cypher gating influencers on Wall Street to spread their HPC rumors to pump the stock. He didn't like that. He didn't like that. Called my reasoning asinine. Yeah. I mean, the only thing that we had on Cypher was a rumor from, was it the Wall Street Journal or something like that, that somebody internally was saying that they are in talks possibly about some HPC AI or a buyer or something like that. Let's see. Moed says, love the effort and the content you put out, Seb. I have been following you for a while and find it very useful. I appreciate it. Thank you. That's all I can ask. I just try to provide a little value to you guys. Let's see. But then it goes on. Then I asked about Bitfury is still unloading shares at nearly 52-week lows after influencers him said they're done selling. No response. What do you think? I don't know if they're still selling. Where are you seeing that data? That'd be interesting to see that. If they are selling, they had a lot more shares than they do now. They had like 75% of the company owned by Bitfury. They did give that out to the shareholders of Bitfury, 100 plus basically people that were owners in that or shareholders. So there's some spread out. So if people that have shares now because of that are selling out, well, it's not really on Bitfury. It's more on those individuals themselves. Let's see. Andy says, unfortunately, I think it's clear that Harris performed better, but that was because the ABC was so biased against Trump. They kept Kamala's mic on all the time and only live fact-checked Trump. Yeah, true. But I think also just the way she presented herself compared to Trump, there's two different types of messages being there. Her message was more about a little bit, it seemed a little bit more upbeat going into the future of the country, whereas Trump was more of a, just him being angry at things and, a doom and gloom type of thing, which me personally, I gravitate more towards the positive side of things instead of all the bad things. But being said, I've voted for Republicans my whole life. And I wish I had a third candidate I could vote for because I'm just not happy with Trump right now. Let's see here. Chris says, I am from Poland and lived in Poland till I was 19. I love USA and capitalism. Yeah, me too. I moved out here when I was 8 years old. And I love this country. Like, you could even say I love this country more than I do Poland because I've lived here so much longer, right? I've raised my family here, my kids, everything else. I got educated here. I love this country. I want this country to succeed. I want it to be the number one in the world. And it is because of capitalism and the opportunities that it has available to everybody. Regardless of where you come from in the United States, if you come from the ghettos, whatever it might be, you have the opportunity to make something of yourself through either education, hard work, and hustle. You can become something. And that's not easy to do in other countries. So, yeah, I'm all for, as all for United States as anybody else can be, I think. What's your opinion on BTC hits its peak, and will miners reach their peaks before or after the BTC peak? Last cycle, the miners peaked before Bitcoin did, about a week or two before. So that's kind of what I'm expecting this time around as well. Let's see. Okay, that's okay. I can read a little bit of Polish, but it's tough for me. So I'm trying to read a comment from Kamura. I can't pronounce it. That's in Polish here. Okay. Don't know who that person is, but he's saying greetings from Poland, and then something about not us communicating. Let's see, Chris. Greetings from a fellow Polish American. Yeah, I agree with you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Let's see, Andy says, I know Trump is not the most likable candidate, but my hope is that Americans will focus on policies first in the upcoming election. Yeah, but what are also Trump's policies? Right? It's not an easy vote, unfortunately. I keep going back to wishing that we had a candidate like Ronald Reagan. That would be an easy vote for me at that point for a Republican. Right now, it's definitely making it tough. Let's see. Hi, Seb. Do you know why Mara stock halted yesterday? I didn't see any news. I think it was reported someplace that they are rebranding to Mara Holdings now as part of their name change and things like that. So I think that's why. Chris, I'll try to. So Chris writes it in Polish. Buy Riot and close your eyes. LOL, basically is what he's saying there. Let's see. Sour Melon Gaming says, if Kamala gets elected, BTC will stay range bound. We need Trump for the rocket. But we don't know that for a fact, right? I think Bitcoin is party independent. Whether it's Republicans or Democrats, I don't think it really cares. Because it's not a U.S. thing. It's a world thing. So I don't think it really matters to that point. Because we saw Bitcoin go up in with the Democrat in the office. We saw Bitcoin go up with the Republican in the office. And we saw it again go up with the Democrats. So I don't think that matters. Christopher says, as far as politics go, we have a poop sandwich. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see here. Trump didn't praise dictators. He said, you don't talk talk down about a world leader that you are going to sit across from the negotiating table. Well, there's the leaders that he talked down about also. So, you don't need to praise them, but okay, so let me put it this way. I don't think you need to talk about dictators in general, and there's no need for praising them, even if you're going to be sitting down to them or sitting down across from them, right? You don't blow up their skirt just to talk to them, basically. Ronald Stephenson says, a little birdie told me that MicroStrategy is buying Mara, holding Mara today. Did you hear about the news? I have not. We heard about a stock trading halt for a little bit, and we thought it was basically with the name change happening there. Gustav says Bitcoin goes up no matter who becomes president. And exactly, that's kind of what I've been seeing here. If we saw this happen when Biden was elected and Bitcoin was just going down and we didn't go back up to a new all-time high, okay, then there might be some credence to it depends on the president, but it doesn't matter. A Perfecti says, Kemal baited Trump and he fell for it. Yeah, he did multiple times. Let's see. What else we got here? I'm not sure where this is for. There was a 5% sale last week, September 4th, I think, at $2 some. What is that in reference to? Did I miss something? Not sure. And then goes on to say, then an insider buy shortly after Cypher's shenanigans, and Mike won't answer about them, even though he at times knows all. Oh, I'm thinking about that. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know. I don't see the inside data, unfortunately. Let's see. Is there a specific reason Mara was up 8%? No, not really. A lot of miners were up today. Some others were also up quite nicely as well. Let's see. Anyone has a link to video conference today with Cleanspark, Bit Digital, and others? If you go on Twitter or X and go to Core Scientific's, what is that called? Page, I guess. They have a link there, but I don't know if it's I don't know if there's a recording of it there, but they had a link to the actual live session there. Let's see. Do you wish Winston Churchill was a candidate? I don't know enough about Winston Churchill, but I know he played an important role in the Second World War. So I'll have to do more research on him. Okay, price of Bitfarms by the end of the year here. Depending where Bitcoin goes, Bitcoin's around 80, 90,000. I could see them being maybe $3, $4, $5, somewhere around there. Just hard to say. Let's see. Major shareholder top holdco BV Bitfury sold 1.9 million shares of the stock in transaction on Wednesday, September 4th. The shares were sold at an average price of $3.02 for a total value of 5.7. Okay, so it wasn't that much. I'm pretty sure they have more volume than that during the day. Let's see. Sebastian, do you read any books? Do I have any favorites? I used to read. Well, not read. I used to listen to a bunch of audiobooks when I was going to college for my bachelor's degree and my master's degree. And I read a bunch of books. If you guys want me to list them all. I'll list them all someplace. I'm not sure, but we can probably do something as well. But one of the best ones I think I read was, I've read a bunch of biographies on Elon Musk, also on Steve Jobs. Who else? There was somebody else. A couple other biographies. Fantastics there. What else? A lot of business growing, different ways to look at businesses, different ways to evaluate businesses as well, how to help run your businesses, be effective, and all that stuff. Let's see. Joseph says, we need Trump in prison. I don't think we need him in prison. I don't wish that on anybody. Was he doing what he thought was doing was right? Probably, right? But that doesn't mean he should go to prison. He has just a different mind view. He's not somebody that likes to lose, and sometimes he goes a little overboard, maybe. Who are you going to be voting for this election? To be honest, I really don't know. I live in a state, Illinois, which is predominantly Democratic anyways. My vote means very, very little to the outcome of the election as it is. I know a wasted vote is a wasted vote, so I really don't want to do that. Can I write somebody in? Maybe I'll write somebody in, just as a protest, maybe. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah. Bitcoin doesn't care about Trump. It's hit all-time high with Democrats agree Bitcoin is going up no matter what. Yeah, I mean, that's historically what we've seen here. Let's see. What else here? The debate was a loss for all Americans. Actually, I thought it was actually pretty good debate considering the ones that we've had in the past. It wasn't bad. We were a little skewed more towards the Democratic side with the ABC stuff. But overall, I thought the candidates did pretty good for the most part. It wasn't that bad. Especially, are you strapped in case of a civil war? I'll let you think about that one. But there's I'll just say yeah. Yes. Most of the value miner right now, I would believe that would be Bitfarms. Let's see. Andre says, instead of talking about migrants eating people's pets, maybe Trump should have just asked what Harris thought of Laken. I don't even know who Laken Riley is. Might be missing something there. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, I mean, we'll see, right? I mean, we got, 50 some odd days before we vote on the elections. We'll see what happens. Anything can happen in the next 50 some odd days. Who knows, right? All I wish for the country is for the people to come together, really. We are all in this together. Whether you're Republican, Democrat, regardless of what your skin color is or anything like that, I just want the country to do well. I want the people in the country to do well. My family came from nothing, and you could say that we are kind of like in the maybe middle class to maybe higher middle class. We're not definitely the wealthiest or anything like that, but we do okay, right? I work a regular job. I do this to help support the family as well. And I've always kind of worked double jobs, whether it was working a regular job I was doing prior, landscaping with my dad on the sides. I was mowing lawns on the sides. We were washing cars on the sides. We were always doing something to bring in extra money for the family. And as long as you have that kind of mentality where you want to get something done and you want to be productive, you can move up in this world. If you want to be lazy, you're going to be lazy, and then you're going to, be complaining about everything, that you don't have enough money to do this, do that. Well, that's on you, I think, at that point. Let's see. Okay. Spasibo, Sebastian. I'm guessing that's Spanish. Spasibo. Smash the like button, please. Yeah. If everybody could hit the like button, that'd be great. But that's it. Let's see. I don't think you guys have any more questions here. What's the reason for all the other miners performing better than Riot? Their operations have been better. Uptime has been better. That's the only thing I can really think of. Riot's uptime has not been great over the last pretty much 18 to 24 months. And I think that's kind of what's driving things. Let's see. God hates lazy people? No. God does not hate anybody. Let's see, bingo, you got it. And from what I see, seeing how I work construction in Southern California, I work with all the races and divisions. Seems to only exist on the internet. Yeah. Let's see, Kyle says, I've given up on Bitfarms and sold my position and split between BitDeer and Cleanspark. It's understandable, right? Bitfarms has not done great over the last several months. So totally understandable. Do you ever do back tests on the miner prices before earnings? It appears they regularly sell off post-halving. Maybe consider this for Riot and Marathon post-halvings. Yeah, I saw that last cycle, which this cycle was a little bit different, right? When we talk about cycles, last cycle the miners were actually going down in price before the halving event and after the halving event a little bit, and then they went back up. So this cycle was a little bit different because we had Bitcoin going up before the halving event, along with the miners. A little bit different this time around. Let's see. X-Spaces chat with Wolf CFO, Senior Vice President of Ops, was eye-opening, extremely bullish. Their Lake Mariner site is far and beyond ahead of other sites. Cool. I mean, yeah, I wish them all the best. Let's see. Jack says, I'll vote for the candidate who isn't bought and paid for by deep state and mainstream media. Yeah, which one would that be? I don't know. I almost seem to think that there should be like a lottery system for being a president. If you have achieved, certain education, certain things like that, you're then eligible to become a president for the country. Maybe we need to do a lottery system. I don't know. In the future, can you make a video showing a predictive prices for miners at certain BTC prices, example miners when BTC is 100 to 120? Yeah, I'm working on that. I don't know if we're going to get to it this week, maybe next week sometime, but something that I'm working on. We've done it in the past as well, so I just need to update that information for it. Let's see. How much will Bitfarms dilute and when to acquire Stronghold? So the dilution is going to be, 10%, I believe, in order for them to acquire Stronghold, and the acquisition should happen sometime in like January or February of 2025. Let's see. Supra 7 says BTC going down tomorrow. I don't know. I mean, where are we at right now? Let's take a look at it. I mean, we're down a little bit. We're down, what are we down? Just, we're down 1.41%, so it's not too bad right now. Things can change. Okay, Andrew says Laken Riley was a young 14-year-old killed by two migrants. Okay. I understand now, okay. Which is tragic, right? Regardless if it's anybody that gets killed, it's tragic. Life is so precious. It's so, it goes by so quick too. The older I get it, the more nostalgic I get on where I've been, where I've come from, where I'm in now, with my kids, my wife, everything. Life is just so precious, I just don't understand why somebody would take another person's life. For what? Right? Let's see. Eric says, going to comment, go to websites and read policies. It's there. Use the same level of discipline you take in evaluating miners to evaluate the policies of each. They are worlds apart. Yeah, definitely do your research on the politicians as well. Look what they've done in the past, what have they said in the past, what have they done. That all goes into it. I agree. M says IREN is the most undervalued. It's close to that based on what I'm seeing. It's close to also like Bitfarms, but I think Bitfarms is just a little bit more undervalued. Let's see. Let's see. I'm foregoing paying off my credit card and instead coping more miner shares on sale. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend that, but yeah, I mean, if you're at least paying more than what you would normally pay on it, whatever your due is, if you're paying some of that down at least somewhat, then maybe okay, but I would not recommend that possibly. Is it worthwhile to buy SDIG to get Bitfarms shares? Seems like it's at discount versus the Bitfarms value. It could be, yeah. As long as the deal goes through that way. Let's see here. Chris says only legal migration like me and Elon Musk, others need to deported. Law is law. Yeah, I agree there. I think there should be a case for people that are seeking asylum for whatever reason there might be. Also people that want to help and contribute to the society here in the United States, people that want to do well, want to better their lives, right? That's one of the reasons we moved out here. My dad wanted, we were in communism in back then. My dad wanted freedom. My dad wanted to do better for his family, for his kids and everything else. And he's been working his butt off for the last, what has it been? Close to 40 years, right? Always had a job, always worked multiple jobs even. Never took any kind of social benefit or anything like that. So props goes out to my dad, man. It was definitely tough. No language, trying to learn everything all at once. It's like starting over all again. Let's see, if we get a SEB, a 50 interest rate cut next week, is that good? I'm not sure how the market would react. I think if we get a 50, that might scare the market a little bit for a couple of days, because then it means that the Fed's data is maybe off a little bit, or they're fearful that we might be heading into a recession. So I don't know. I think a 25 basis points cut would be good. Anything above that, we can get another 25 basis point cut, like a month or two. But if we get that kind of a spike there, I don't know if that would be good, at least for short term at least. Can you tell one candidate was an actor and the other was real? If you want sunshine and roses, it's an easy choice, though. That's one way to take a look at it. Yeah. Andre says, thanks for all the hard work, Seb. You're very welcome. Let's see. Seb, I know you tend to go on the safer side, but if we're getting a bull run on miners in the next 3 months, it could be worth it to use some line of credit or debt to swing the trade. No, not financial wise. Yeah, I mean, you can. As long as it's... Here's the tough part on it. So if you're using the money that you would be paying down your credit cards, which usually have a high interest rate, and this is risky, right? We're going at the Bitcoin miners, which are a leverage play on Bitcoin in general, so that's risky. You really need to have a high conviction on it. I would say whatever you're going to pay on the credit card, maybe pay half of that towards the credit card and half on the miners, possibly. But even then, that's kind of risky. I mean, you really need to know what you're doing there and have... Even if things go sideways, let's say things go wrong for you with the trade on Bitcoin miners. And after those 3 months, can you still pay down the debt eventually in the next maybe year or something like that? You can, okay, then maybe that's not so bad. Alex says a 50% or 50 cent cut or 50 basis points cut would also cause panic and make people think the economy could be breaking. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It could be not a good sign there. All right. I think I've cut up to all your guys' questions here. We're going to call it a day. Tomorrow, I am going to be joining Bryce and Anthony on their channel at around 11:45 or something like that on my lunch break. So I'll be in there for maybe 45 minutes to an hour at most. At that point, we'll talk about the miners. I'll give them my thoughts. I'll give them their thoughts on all the stuff that's going on here. Should be kind of fun. We do this, I think, like almost monthly now. We've done at least one stream together here. So that's coming up tomorrow. Join us if you can. I think that's starting at they're starting at 11, but I'll be joining a little bit later because I work and then I get home for lunch a little bit. Okay, so that is it. And then last one, LED lawn services says, never play with money you cannot afford to lose. This is financial advice. So if it's something that you're okay losing, okay, fine, go ahead and do that. But as long as you can pay it off in the long run, then so I agree there. All right. We'll see what happens tomorrow if we get any other news or anything like that. Tomorrow's Wednesday. We'll see how the Bitcoin does, how the markets react to the debate tonight, tomorrow as well. We'll get into some other data as well that we have on the miners. Okay. So thank you all. Love you all for coming in. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Have a great night or a great morning, depending where you are. All right. I'll see you then.